What is success and how successful are you? It's going to be my little talk today. And let me start out with this. Years ago, when I was beginning my professional speaking and consulting career, a buddy of mine who I was speaking on his stage started calling me the success doctor. Now, when I talk to him now, he says, it was so long ago, Ron, I don't even remember saying it. I remember it very clearly because I have proudly worn that moniker since then. But let me explain it before you think it's about conceit, and it's not. Success is something that I've been pursuing and studying for close to 4 decades now. And the reason I use the success doctor is because I believe that every single person, I have the wonderful privilege of either speaking in front of or working with personally as a client. I believe you were born to succeed. I believe you were designed to have a leaner, healthier body, crafted for deep, loving relationships, made for a powerful spiritual walk. And yes, I believe you can be financially free. I always tell people, look, if you're looking for the kind of coach, the person to work and speak into your life that probably believes more in you than you do in yourself, then always reach out to me. You see, that is a critical piece of my purpose in my life, and that is to encourage, inspire, and empower other business owners to achieve everything in life you were born to achieve. So I believe in defining, first of all, what success is, since I'm the success doctor. I always tell people success is nothing more, nothing less than your ability to reach a desired result. A result in one or more 4 areas of your life: your finances, your health, your relationships, your spiritual walk. Now, in my life and a lot of my coaching, I will encourage people through my modeling that I believe your spiritual life should be your number one concern. And here's why. If you're not a believer in Christ like I am, maybe just consider this. You're going to spend a lot longer dead than you are alive. Now, I heard that from a buddy of mine, Chris Widener, many years ago, but it's so valuable and it's so true. So does this life have any impact on what happens after life? And maybe you think that, hey, we're just a bunch of protoplasm and we're organic material, and then we go back to being organic material, and there's nothing after this. I would challenge that because I don't think that that's very big thinking, and I think it requires more faith to believe in that than there is the designer behind an incredible world around us. And I'll even be more specific, that I believe that you should take a look at this man called Jesus. You see, because here's where it all comes down to. If Jesus rose from the grave, game over. He is who he says he is. And if he didn't, then people like me, we're the greatest fools that walk the earth. Because the resurrection is where our hope is at. And I'll leave it there because I want to go back on to success for just a minute. And I want to just encourage you, no matter where you're at, because I have walked and seen for close to 4 decades. I've been studying successful people, successful businesses, and success principles. That's why, again, my buddy Bob called me the success doctor, because I'm so committed to it. Because I believe people can be so much more successful than what they are right now. I call it closing the gap, right? There's where you're at right now in any area, your finances, your health, your relationships, or your spiritual walk. And then there's where you know you should be or could be or want to be. And that gap between the two is what people like me help you do it faster and better. That's the key, faster and better. That's my coaching program, right? However, let me not talk about that. Let me just talk about you for a minute. Because many of you out there think that, and you're comparing yourself to other people, maybe, sorry about that, maybe you don't have the success that your peers are having, or that you sit there and go, I'm leaving so much on the table. I should be so much more successful, or I want to be so much more successful than I am right now. But you know what? I'm not as brilliant or as talented as other people, or I don't have the same pedigree or education that they do. I mean, that person has a doctorate. That person has a master's. That person has a college degree and I don't. But let me first dispel some of these myths. I have been around some people that have high IQs and low bank accounts. I've been around some people who have been extraordinary in their education, but their personal life is a mess. I've been around a lot of people who are extremely talented, but they don't excel or achieve in those areas because they have never developed that talent and pushed it or applied it correctly. You see, having those things are great, but they are not what makes a person successful. Can they help? Yes. I wish I had a really high IQ. It would have been much easier. I wish I had natural giftings in certain areas that I don't. But two of the things that I do have is I have a healthy and a positive mindset. And by the way, Carol Dweck's book called Mindset is a must read for anybody who wants to have a successful business. I would say if you want to have a more successful life, read Carol Dweck's book. It's called Mindset, Mindset. And then you got to have grit. Grit is the thing that separates the average from the extraordinary. Because if you want to go from average to extraordinary, or even below average to extraordinary, you got to have grit. And there's a book called Grit by Angela Duckworth. Absolutely worth reading those two books, Mindset and Grit. Love them because your mindset and your grit and determination are two major factors in your ability to take average talent, average IQ, no or minimal education, and become extraordinary and be incredibly successful in different areas of your life that you choose. And if you think that that could not be financial, you're absolutely wrong, because I know tons of people who are extremely wealthy financially who have average IQs, no natural giftedness. They're not highly educated in academic degrees, but man, they've got grit. And they've got a positive mindset. And they have set their nose to the grindstone, they stay focused, and they have built incredible financial portfolios. You can do the same. But I'm not saying that should be your highest priority. In fact, if you listened to me before, I believe that it's much more important to do a couple of other things. And number one is we should be aiming towards eternity, because we're going to spend a lot longer dead than alive. So we might want to consider where that destination is. And if we will spend more time dead than alive, does this life matter? Does what we do in this life matter? And I believe it does. So let me give you some encouragement, or leave you with some encouragement, and share from one of my morning devotionals. I read 5 devotionals each morning. I spend time studying the Bible. I spend time in prayer. And one of my favorite pastors, I've got several, is Pastor Chuck Swindoll. And one of my goals, I love to meet him and just to get to know him a little bit and bask in some of the wisdom that God has blessed this man with over the years. And you see, let me first share this before I do that. To go from information to results, successful results, there's implementation. You must implement or apply what you learn. So let me share some things that I believe would be helpful from Pastor Swindoll that you can apply. Number one is that don't get stuck on age. He says here, age has little to do with achievement and nothing to do with commitment. People that are younger can be significantly committed and get great results, and people that have lived much longer, well, they may have a lot more experience in life, but less commitment, and therefore probably less success. So it's about commitment rather than age. Although if you have years of experience and tremendous commitment, that grit, that positive mindset, man, you're going to go places. Number 2, Pastor Swindoll shared, a godly walk is the basis or the basic part or foundation of a positive life. And number 3, convictions are a matter of choice, not force. You cannot force convictions. You must choose them. Nobody could force convictions on you. You must choose to be deeply rooted in strong convictions. What are convictions? They're guardrails that will establish barriers that will protect you. Convictions, deeply ingrained in your life, will cause you to not stumble and fall as much. There's a number of things that you can do. that will help you. Get around people who have deep convictions that you want to have convictions like. In other words, who you hang out with is important. And then make sure that you are drawing on sources on a regular basis and feeding into your mind. I call it programming your mind the way you want it to behave and act. This is so critically important. So let me summarize real quick. I believe you were born to succeed. You were designed to have a leaner, healthier body. You were crafted for deep, loving relationships and a powerful spiritual walk. Financial freedom is there, but financial freedom is not wealth. It's a form of wealth. Having deep, loving relationships, having a healthy body, and most importantly, having a deep walk with the God that created you is much more of a measure of wealth to me than finances. Although I work hard to do a great job in serving my clients so that they will pay me and they'll send other people my way. Always give more value than you get in return. You'll build a great income over time, but you got to learn how to steward what you've been given. And listen, just so I'm really clear, our lives, we were never meant to be a reservoir to hold on to all the stuff and just keep collecting to us. We were made to be conduits so that the blessings that God pours down on us, we allow to flow through us to other people. Doesn't mean you give everything away, right? Because you need stuff to live on. And it's wise to put some finances away to take care of your children and maybe your grandchildren, to take care of your spouse if you die first. That's wise. But it's also not the only mission. The other mission is how can I impact, or how can you impact the world around us by the blessings that God has given to us. I just want to lift you up this morning in my heart and my prayer that if you hear this and you take this to heart and you realize that you were born for a greater purpose and you make that decision to close that gap, that you will work hard, you will study, you'll surround yourself with the right people. And if you're a business owner and if you believe that what I had to say was important and maybe I can help, listen, send me a message. I'll give you a link to get on my calendar for 30 minutes, but you got to be serious about it because I have 2 coaching programs. And all I want to do is ask you questions about you, find out what your needs are, and then determine if there's something I can do to help you. And if I can, I'll let you know. And for those people who jump on a call with me, I always give them the best deal if I feel they're a good fit for one of my programs and if they feel I'm a good fit for them. Listen, I really love you guys. I care about you, and I want to see you succeed. I hope you enjoyed this. Keep coming back to hear more, and I hope you'll tell other people about this. And hey, subscribe too. That's important for me. And your messages are really important because they help boost our rankings and stuff like that. Like, you know all that stuff, right? But if you don't do it, then it doesn't help me. So I'm going to ask you to take a minute and subscribe, and then, hey, leave comments. This is Dr. Ron. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day.